Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Frank Basa from Nord Precious Metals. Frank, you've had an exciting year. You've picked up some new assets, correct?
Yes, I did, Tracy. It was kind of a significant acquisition for our little company. Uh, we are always expanding. It was something I think will add greatly to our resources in the camp. And with this new recovery permit that the province of Ontario, which you can get a permit in 80 days, we initially started the permitting process for our smaller tailings ponds in November, and then we paused it to acquire this thing, and we'll be going through a revised permitting process for the larger tailings.
And of course, the asset we're talking about is Gowganda in Ontario. Is that correct?
It's in Gowganda. It's adjacent to our Castle mine. So what we actually did was we picked up about a tailings resource that had actually a historical resource on it of 2.9 million ounces of silver. It's recoverable. A lot of work's been done. Actually, PFS was done on it. So it's about 85% recoverable. So we're looking at producing about 325,000 ounces if everything falls into place next year starting. Late in the year, it'll be about 325,000 ounces for about 7 years. So we recover a little more than 2 million ounces of the 2.9 million ounces. In addition, we have a lot of other tailings in our area there. And with the new permit, we've asked the ministry if we can what we call toll our material through our permit on the big tailings. And so far, they have been quite agreeable to amend the permitting process to include the tailings. So what's really exciting about this thing is the mines under it. See, originally we only had about 2 or 3 mines. With this acquisition, we have 8 now. And we've looked some of the historical data, and we also did some drilling from underground at the Castle mine, and we found the old timers in their time in the 20s and 30s when silver was only about 50 or 60 cents an ounce, 50, 60 cents an ounce. We hit material running 13,000 grams a ton. So in those days, 13,000 grams a ton was not economical, so they left it behind. So the feeling is that our geological team said, look, we should look at possibly doing an open pit. So far, the results lean in that direction. So we'll put out a news release to that effect if it looks positive. We'll hire the proper people to assess it. And then hopefully we might be able to, after treating the tailings, which are sitting on these mines, we'll do a super pit to recover all the material, which in those days was considered low grade, which at today's day at $50, $60 an ounce is economically viable.
And of course, for you, everybody leaning forward, going, what is he talking about? Silver. We're talking about silver. Will you
Oh,
be
it's
using?
silver.
Yeah. Well, you said 325,000 ounces of silver. Okay. So we're talking about silver. And of course, Frank Basa is a very well-known prospector and explorer in the resource industry. And let's jump into where and how you plan on extracting the silver from the tailings. Now, will you be using your technology process you have or something else?
No, we'll be using, we're having a discussion with the ministry on the 21st of this month. There's 3 ways we can recover it. It's either gravity, which we've tried. You get about 50, 60% recovery. It's a very low cost mill. In other words, you set it up in a couple of months and you're producing. Then there's recovery with flotation. So it's gravity flotation. We get a higher recovery. And the ultimate recovery is with cyanidation. And that gives us about 85%. But that's a more sophisticated plant. So it comes about economics. It also comes to the price of gold, silver. So, a lot of the people, I just came back from Europe. I met with a lot of the family offices that I met with before, and that said, oh yeah, silver will go to $100 an ounce. I said, if it happens, I'll be very happy. Now they're saying $300 to $600 an ounce. So if it goes there, then a lot of the stuff that we'll be leaving behind in our tailings will now become economically viable to recover. So our recoverable ounces might be quite significant beyond the 2.9 in the tailings, right? And then, of course, the way we did our inferred resource, most people are not aware of it, but we do have the highest grade resource in the world at 250 ounces a ton, silver only. We did do silver equivalent. So that's about 8,000 grams a ton, silver only. And a lot of people are kind of surprised to hear those numbers, but the camp itself has been always known for its extremely high silver grades. Narrow vein, but always extremely high grade. It's massive, massive silver.
So when you're referencing the camp, you're talking about the cobalt camp, which you
Yeah.
told me earlier used to be the number one producer of silver in the
Silver.
world. Is that correct?
For a few years, it was the number one silver producer. It was just amazing. It was the amount of silver that was produced out of this camp was extraordinary. It was just unbelievable. And I think it might happen again because all they did was they did what I call visual mining. They saw it, they mined it. And what we're doing now, and two other companies also came in the area doing the same thing we're doing. And they're finding all the silver that the old timers left behind, either because of economics or they just didn't recover it. Eh?
And of
So
course,
it could happen, it could be back on the map globally again.
I think you understood that this might be happening again this cycle because it was what, 8, 9 years ago when you picked up your first project in that area?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, we were the first ones back in the camp, and we bought the Castle Silver Mine, which Agnico operated, and they recovered silver at 25 to 80 ounces a ton silver. We bought it for 25,000 about 12 years ago, and now we acquired the adjoining property next to the Castle Mine at $6 million, and the next property now on the camp is 23 million. So, when you look at how the prices went up, and basically in 12 years, and that was because of us. We started this drill program. We showed the world that there is still silver behind, very high grade silver behind, and other people came in the area. They're doing just as well. But now the value of properties is just astronomical.
It's my understanding that you've just come through a significant drilling process. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, so we started with 30,000 meters. We just completed about 8,000 of it. We're going to pause a little bit here because we have backlogged with our sample and our analysis. And as we paused, we took our geological team, they're contractors. Uh, they kind of wandered all over our property, and they kind of felt that there's significant gold. We've been hitting gold on there since we acquired the property. We never took it seriously. So we're actually out there, started on Monday, trenching and power washing, and he feels there's a larger gold zone which might fall into our super pit. But we never took it seriously because the camp itself didn't believe there's any gold of any value. But then he referred to another deposit, which Cote Nord or IM Gold has, which is not too far from us. We're in the same zone, apparently, which we didn't know. And their resources, I think, is 20 million ounces. So it could be that we're sitting on something else besides silver, which, our geological team feel very confident. So I kind of agreed to you know, their their ability to find stuff. So we immediately mobilized on Monday. We met on Sunday and we mobilized on Monday, and we've got an excavator out there stripping an area which we've stripped before, just a small amount, and we thought there's nothing there. We kind of walked away. But he kind of convinced us on that Sunday night that we might be sitting on something large. So we'll see how large it is. But we are stripping now and power washing.
Okay, so the timeline is very aggressive. I understand you mentioned earlier in this interview that you met with the minister recently and that they have changed the way they fast track permits, or they are now
Yep.
fast tracking permits as quickly as, I believe you said, 80 days.
80 days. We tried to get our permits last time, 6 years, we couldn't get it. So they've simplified it. They got rid of all the red tape. And we thought 80 days, it's got to be the best in the world. I've never seen that anywhere. So two companies already have got their permits in less than 80 days. Like I said, we started in November, and then this property came available. We paused our permitting process, and now we asked for quite a few amendments in the permitting process on this recovery permit. Verbally, it's been agreed to, and we'll see if we can get it in writing. We'll resubmit, and then hopefully get our permit this year. And then hopefully next year we can start producing silver from our tailings.
Okay, so the obvious question next is what should shareholders be looking forward to in the next quarter?
I think you'll be looking more for exploration results. Um I think there might be something positive on the potential for an open pit under the tailings. I don't think we'll get our permit yet. Like I said, we've asked for a lot of things. We'll see how it responds. We have a meeting with them on the 21st of this month to confirm that, it's reasonable what we requested to amendments to this recovery permit. So far, like I said, they have agreed everything. Now we want to reduce it to paper. The other thing we're trying to do is also take the broken rock from underground. We took some out about 8 years ago, and we processed it in our high grade mill. We took about 20 tons out, and we poured 1,000 ounce bar. So it came back about 50 ounces a ton in a range that Agnico actually produced from that mine, which is the 25 to 80 ounce range. So we'll ask if we can recover the broken rock from underground, and that might end up going into our mill. I don't think we'll be able to get it done this year, but hopefully we can get it done next year. So a combination of hard rock and tailings reprocessing, and we'll see what we can get going.
Well, of course. So we have location, we have history, we have a management team that's been together for a very long time with a track record of achieving milestones. For those of you interested in finding out more about Nord Precious Metals, please go to the following website. Frank, thank you so much for joining us today.
Always a pleasure, Heidi. And thank you very much, Tracy.